We cool on Drake. I honestly Drake could Drake could take off five. I honestly think Drake maybe should take off 5 years. Like I wouldn't mind Drake taking off 5 years. I wouldn't mind if Drake said he was done. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually, let me take that back. I wouldn't mind. But I would understand if he was like, I'm done. Let me start a new chapter in my life and went into another field. But I honestly would like Drake to kind of chill. I want to see Drake. Let me get off of this screen right quick and get here. I want to see Drake not only take off like 1 or 2 years. He used to do that. He used to take off 1 or 2 years, and he'd come back. He'd sneak his way back in with giving his features, doing some shit with Ross, Hove, Wayne, Khaled, whoever. He always got one foot in somewhere. But I would honestly love Drake to not only take a couple years off, but to take it off to the extent to where he loses his place, or it's in question, if I may. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really know if he can actually lose his place. If you ask me, being 100% honest, I don't think it's possible. Because, and honestly, what I'm asking, it would have to be two things going on. He would have to not be present, meaning he wouldn't be actively dropping music, no features, no albums, no tours, none of that. He maybe can do tours, but I only want him to do that. But the other thing that has to be happening is somebody has to be killing it. Somebody has to be dropping classics, fire, hit after hit, and just running shit in order for him to really feel threatened, feel like he's losing his spot, and feeling like it's pressure being applied for him to come back with something that's crazy. So the easy thing that can happen is him just stop making music and him not being as active. The hard thing is trying to see if somebody can get to that level to where he feels he needs to reinsert himself into the conversation and come back and get what's rightfully his. I try to have this conversation, man, every once in a while, but over the last 10 plus years, it's never really reached serious contention or serious conversation because, guys just can't keep it up to the level where Drizzy feel like, maybe somebody's surpassing or eclipsing me. Right now, if we was to have a conversation, who would we be looking at? We'd be looking at Lil Baby, of course. Lil Baby checks off the box as far as momentum, activity, staying relevant. He has, I don't know if I would call My Turn a classic. For his catalog, is definitely a classic. Universally, I think it needs to age more. But he definitely has a great entrance to the game. He's making enough noise to where he's just not with the other guys anymore. He's not with the Uzis no more. He's not with the Baby no more. He's off away from Dirk. Anybody else you would put in this class? Kodak. Who else would you put in there? 21 Savage. I'm trying to think. Who else would you put in like Baby's class? Like it's not really. I don't even know what class you would put him with. What did he? I don't even think Baby didn't do double XL. I don't think he may have. I don't think he did though. But yeah, basically what I'm saying, he's branched off from that. He's leveled up to a different tier now. Like he's a bona fide tier 8 artist at this point. Like that's his. So he checks off momentum, activity. He has a solid catalog. He's relevant. He's built a fan base. I don't know if it's to the degree where he's selling out arenas by himself globally. I think he lacks in not only that, but they kind of go hand in hand. But being crossover, has Baby crossed over to where not only the hip hop community and the concert goers are checking for him is like, the people in the corporate America office really rocking with Baby, or what percentage of women is really rocking with Baby, in different ethnicities or really rocking with Baby. I think that would all be kind of what we would have to see what the next album would do. I can't say he has that on lock. And somebody like a Kendrick Lamar, a J. Cole, of course a Drake, all them guys check off every single box. You know what I mean? They check off everything. I mean, catalog, momentum, crossover, having standout years that kind of put them head and shoulders over the other people. I would give Baby that. Travis Scott, he would have been the next guy that this conversation was getting serious about. And it really didn't come down to a music thing for him. He had the other boxes checked off that Baby was probably lacking, which is crossover ability, selling out arenas, doing crazy festivals, headlining everything his name is on. You know what I mean? Like, Travis had that stuff sold up, being very marketable, he was everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only two guys of the last 5 years for me that I would probably say garnered any serious conversation to even potentially be a candidate of being the next guy. Lil Baby and Travis Scott. Travis, I think he kind of is in a unfortunate situation to where that conversation is taking a mean left. Lil Baby, I just think he has to deliver on the next album and continue, and hopefully Drake in hopes that Drake sits back and relaxes, which I don't really see, because Drake he's a workaholic. He never stops. He never seems satisfied. He continuously drops music, whether if it's project after project, his feature after feature. I mean, he just don't stop, man, and it's really hard to compete with him because, one, he doesn't stop. Two, his numbers are through the roof. And he's at this point, like, really, the biggest thing that's going for Drake is that he's Drake. You know what I mean? Like, and that's tough to deal with. It's tough to deal with. We've never seen anything like him. And I don't know if he really can fall off, because bad music is not going to do it. Bad music is not going to be the death of Drake, because he's just too well off into his career that's not even something that can take him out of his spot. You know what I mean? Because other people, I wouldn't say hit the mark as much as Drake did. So when they started to drop bad music, it was easy to write them off. Drake has hit the mark so much that even if he misses, which I don't really believe he misses, he just maybe doesn't hit it as hard sometimes. Pause. But yeah, I don't think he misses. Maybe sometimes some of the things he put out maybe don't hit as hard. But in that same window or that same season, he could drop something that's like a top 5 quality type of record in his catalog, and he can do that at any moment. Last year, the example of what I'm saying right now would be Over the Top. Over the Top by Smiley featuring Drake. The record's crazy, bro. I mean, it's I hate it. I ain't even gonna say that, because I actually rocks with some of Smiley music. I rock with what he actually did on Over the Top. It's a different contrast. I like the contrast. He's not up the alley of just sounding like everybody else. He's a little unconventional. But what I really wanted to say about Over the Top is, if that was a Drake entirety, that was his record, I think the record would have been pushed different, a video, and I think it would have been like pretty much equivalent to 0 to 100, which is another crazy, you know what I mean? Or we can go with C and Green. I mean, another example of just premium Drake. You know what I mean? And at any moment, he can give you that. That's 2021. That's recent Drake. We not talking nothing was the same. Because a lot of times when we talking about our favorites, we have to go into the files of their greatness and not the recent of their greatness. because a lot of times they're not giving us that on a yearly basis like Drake is. And you know, those are just two off the top examples where I think Drake just goes crazy. You know what I mean? Like he just goes crazy. CLB had flashes of it. I'm not gonna say CLB as an entire project was something that can be an example or reflect the greatness of premium Drake. But I will say songs like In the Bible was a great song. In Too Deep, I honestly feel like it's actually some premium Drake. I think that's pretty premium. Like that can be amongst some of his best music of his career. 7 a.m. on Bridal Path or Bridal Road was pretty crazy. Knife Talk actually grew on me a lot. Like I couldn't stand that record. I didn't understand why I was even on there. But those are some of the ones where I feel like are actually instances where he still shows it on that album. But the whole album, I don't think really lived up to what we expected. It wasn't garbage, but it wasn't amazing. And I will say at the least, it was a bit of a letdown. It was a bit of a letdown for that album. But it's not a bad album. I wouldn't say it's actually... Would I say it's his worst album? I don't know. That's really hard. That's a really hard question for me to kind of answer because I don't really know if he has a project that I just frown up at. As a recent, you know, that album doesn't make me feel great though. It doesn't make me say a lot of great things about it. You know what I mean? Entirely. There's a portion of it that's a lot of good, a lot of great, but overall it's not amazing at all.